Yo, what's going on guys, it's Cryptic TMG back with a brand new video. This time it's AOR GT3 Elite Season 8 Round 5 from Laguna, Seca. Yeah, pretty much my most hated track probably on any game ever. I just never got on with the track, and I can go reasonably quick, but it's just not one of my favorite tracks at all. But yeah, had to get it done, had to do it in the Audi going around here. Pretty much knew we'd struggle to match the Ferrari. I wasn't too sure about the McLaren, but I know this track does favour cars with a turbo, and bearing in mind this is pre-patch, this is before the patch came out on Thursday, sorry. This race was on Wednesday, so we didn't have the patch to sort of even things up a bit, so I wasn't expecting too much in practice. And as I'm going into qualifying, I was on a semi-decent lap here, and on the last corner I just had a brain fade, went wide, and actually ended up invalidating a 22.2 that would have comfortably put me in sort of 4th position behind the top 3 guys who I expected to be the quickest. And yeah, now pretty much under pressure now in 8th place going into quali, less than a minute to go, so this is my last lap, and I think I spun it on 2 laps previous to this, so the car wasn't in the best condition. You can see my front brakes are very hot, but I had to get in some sort of lap. I couldn't afford to really be starting 8th because there's just nowhere to overtake. You see turn 1, we just nowhere near the apex, didn't carry the speed through, but we're still up on the lap we actually did, which was a pretty poor banker lap, to be honest. And yeah, I mean in practice I managed a 21.9, so I knew I had time enough to sort of get towards the front 2 rows, but it was just again having a really bad quali. But not my most, as I said, not my best track, and not a track that I can say I can easily just go on and get a quick time. You can see running wide everywhere. We're just not putting the lap together, but we just got to finish it because of the fact that we're up on our time that we did before. And on the lap that I did before, I had a pretty poor last sector, so I had to do something to at least try and better my position. 8th place is a pretty tricky place to start on a track like this, so yeah, just have to sort of just at least nail the last sector, and it was a lot of pressure, believe me, but we managed to sort of do a decent last sector. So we see we've gained sort of half a second almost, and in the end we end up jumping up to 5th place, 3rd row, not too bad. Obviously we're going to need to get sort of a good start, but 22.8, almost a second off of our PB, so quite a struggle in quali again, having more quali issues, not able to sort of transfer that practice pace into race pace or quali pace for, I mean, pretty much the whole season long. I don't think I've nailed it. So yeah, starting 5th, at least we managed to rescue our starting position a little bit. Stuck behind King Jarnox, wasn't sure what his pace would be, but I thought if I can't get him right at the beginning, it's going to be very hard, because more than likely the McLaren's going to be quicker down the straight. So yeah, it's all about getting a good start, a good launch, and we actually caught him napping there, get quite a good start straight up into 4th position. So in the end, that last qualifying lap, although it was a poor lap, was quite crucial to get us nearer the front, and we're up into 4th position, which I thought was the most likely position I'd be able to qualify, even with sort of my best effort. So up into 4th place, and now I'm just going to try and stay focused, trying to make any mistakes. I was more worried about making mistakes than I was about sort of catching the guys in front. I knew if they just sort of drove even 3/4 of their pace, they should be able to pull away around here. So I was just more focused on making mistakes, and I try not to push too hard, but as I always find in the races with the Audi, I'm not sure if it's just the Audi, but obviously I've spent a lot of time in this car. It just seems the first sort of few laps are just so they're so sketchy. The car's just you feels like it just wants to spin. So I tried to take it pretty cautious in the first few laps, and you can see I'm not ringing the car out to the edge of the curbs or anything like that. I'm pretty steady into the corners. I'm not trying to touch any curves. You can see it on lap 1. I'm just not pushing it anywhere, just trying to take it really steady. But it just you can see it's still snapping in corners, even though I'm purposely driving under the pace that I can. But you can see in the mirror, watch how much King Jarnott's gains us down the straight. And that's what I'm talking about with the this track. I think is at a slight altitude. It's not too high, but the turbo seemed to gain so much. The turbo car seemed to gain so much at altitude. It's just, if you get stuck behind one, you're just not getting past unless they make a mistake. So I was eager to try and like hold on to this 4th position, especially because I believe I think I'm 1 or 2 points ahead of King Jarnott's in the championship, and Sisu Voma is about 17 points in front of me in the championship. So I'm currently lying 2nd, but obviously Sisu Voma in front of us. But CJ and Carl, they're 1-2 at the moment, and really strong pace in the race. So I had no hopes of beating them guys. But I thought, as long as I can keep this 4th position, as long as I don't make any mistakes, then I reckon I could probably sort of pull away a bit and just hopefully have a nice lonely race with no mistakes, which is what I was kind of aiming for. But you know, it's a tough track, and even in quali, before that quali lap I got in, I spun twice in a row. So I did about 4 laps on that quali run, and I spun twice at the corkscrew. So you know, it's very, very easy to do around this track, so pretty hard. I apologise if you can hear my daughter screaming in the background. She's got her PS4 now, so she's all excited playing the games that she's playing. But anyway, this race, I mean, it was at the same track in Season 7, and I had a great chance to win it in that one in the Z4, but we dropped it on the curb and we ended up just battling for the lower down positions. So it's not really a question of pace, it's more a question of just can't keep it on the track around here, like at all. So that was my main focus, and at the time, lap 5 seems to be paying off. We opened up a small gap to King Jarnott's, but the car still felt very sketchy. I didn't feel like I could really push like I could in practice. In practice we sort of ran like 22.7s we could run on race fuel, and even when we did like an official practice lobby with some of the guys that was in this race already. So it was about 5, 6, 7 of us. Can't remember how much it was, but it was pretty comfortable, pretty easy to run 22.7s without making any mistakes. The car didn't feel sketchy, nothing. So the setup felt great, but it seems as soon as I get into the race, there's just nothing underneath me. I think we're coming up to lap Fogarty, who must have had some sort of incident at the start, and he lets us go through. And yeah, that's us putting a lap on Fogarty there. And I don't know what happened to him at the beginning, but to be lapped on lap 6 is probably something pretty major. So yeah, see us going, and we go off track, getting the gravel, and it really slows us down, and that's going to help King Jarnott's catch back up to us a little bit. And we managed to open up a little gap at the moment. And yeah, you can see the guys in front just pulling away. There was pretty much nothing we could really do about that. I know CJ and Carl had pretty similar pace for this race, pretty fast. So I wasn't too sure about Sisu Voma's pace for this race, but I do know that I'd seen one of his time trial times, and it was pretty quick. So I was expecting him also to have a similar pace to the guys at the front, which is why you just see them pulling away. And it's really, even if I was running sort of 22.7s, it would have been very hard, even at that pace, to stick with him. But yeah, you can see now lap 13 as we forward it, and we've got a comfortable gap behind us. Obviously the gap in front of us is just massive, just kept on growing. And yeah, wasn't too bad. I felt like I definitely had the pace to at least stay in 4th place. Hadn't made any real big mistakes at the time, so it was all going pretty well. In the place that I predicted I'd be in. And then we go to turn in, gear down, and the back end just snaps from nowhere, and that was our first mistake, and that lets King Jarnott's pass. This is pretty much what I was fearing, because trying to drive carefully, I could feel the potential of the car spinning as soon as the race started, and I'm not too sure what it is, but the tires were in the right window. Just couldn't explain why the car just felt so weird, but yeah, it is what it is. I just tried to focus and tried to catch back up, and hopefully I could sort of force a mistake or force my way past or something like that. But obviously it wasn't going to be easy. King Jarnott's is a pretty tough guy to overtake, And yeah, as I said, we saw the difference in speed down the straight when the McLaren was behind us. I knew if I was going to be making an overtaking maneuver, it probably wasn't going to be down the straight. It's going to have to be somewhere else. The Audi pretty good around the corner, so that was our best chance. But on a track like this, it just doesn't offer up much opportunity. So pretty tough. Obviously, pretty disappointed in making that mistake when I was in, I thought, what was quite a good position for the Audi, running sort of 23.3s, decent pace I suppose, but yeah, just all went wrong. And you can see us now just trying to focus on hunting conjoints down, managing to close the gap bit by bit. And at least I had the knowledge that I think I'm a bit quicker than the guy in front, so I know as long as I could just keep it on the track and keep matching the pace I'm doing, then eventually I'll close him down. And we've managed to get the gap down quite a bit. You see it's taking us quite a long time, because any sections where there was a bit of where you had to get horsepower involved, like up this hill, I just couldn't close the gap. You can see we're going to the corkscrew here, nice and slow, and back end just steps around. It's just, I could not stop that from happening. There's nothing I could do, and it just felt weird. And then, like an idiot, I tried to accelerate up the hill, and it just wasn't happening. So I ended up having to reverse across the track. I've lost loads of time. I mean, the spin wasn't really the problem, it was how long it took me to rejoin the track. And now we've lost another couple of places, so we're down in 7th. I'm not sure if that was Walgreen or Walter in front of us. It might have been Walter 79, I'm not too sure. I can't remember who it was in front of me, but maybe I should have the name tags on, but they kind of put me off when they're far away in the distance. I could just see name tags are racing around the racetrack, so that's the reason why I took the name tags off. But I think it might have been Walter, I'm not too sure. But yeah, now lost place to VP Phoenix, who's having a really good race in the Ferrari, and also behind Walter, also I think he was having a good race in the Audi as well. So yeah, even more positions to make up now, and it was going to be tough, but I knew I could close down. I wasn't sure if I actually picked up damage spinning at the corkscrew like that. I know you actually can pick up damage on in your suspension just by like bumping over curbs or hitting the ground too hard or whatever, but the clip actually cut because I'd run out of recording space for that segment. But I actually ended up spinning again and ended up behind Nick Nitro, and then he spins, and then that puts us back up into 7th. So I lost even more time. You can see the guys in front, Walter and VP Phoenix, they're gone because I ended up dropping it. So you can see them a little bit further down the road. It wasn't a massive mistake, but it was enough to obviously to open out a gap. And yeah, you can see after that we just made mistake after mistake after mistake. Pretty much by this time my head was gone, and I just kept making mistakes. Another one again, we drive on the gravel, get sideways, off the track again, and this was pretty much my worst nightmare coming into this track, because I just knew that it's just one of them tracks to me that just ends up happening. But fast forwarding all the way to the end, because I was just by myself for the rest of the way, VP Phoenix actually drops it in front of us, so he makes a mistake, and that puts us back up into 6th place. And I mean, it was a small fillip at the time, because it was like, I had a shocking race. I could have been 4th, and as it actually turned out at the front, it was crazy. CJ had been controlling the race the whole time. Then he actually spun that let Carl through. Carl, who had spun earlier and let Ciceroma into 2nd place, then Ciceroma actually spun. So I think at this stage, I'm not sure if it had happened already, I think Carl actually got into the lead of the race, and then he spun, and then that let CJ back in front, so it was crazy in front. And I think Ciceroma then spins again, hits the wall, and that lets Kunjanix up into 3rd place, the guy who was only 2 points behind us in the championship. So it was a crazy time at the front. For me, my race was a little bit more uneventful apart from the spins, but yeah, you can see if we could have stayed in that 4th position, we could have been sort of on the podium just by not making any mistakes, which has probably been our biggest thing this season for me, is just a mistake in every race, a couple of spins sort of every track so far. So that's something we really need to improve upon. You can see us coming up to the corkscrew on the last lap, but the corner that just caused me so much trouble. I must have spun it about 3 times in the same place in this race. And we come into it again, and the back end just goes again. And literally, it took me so long to start the car. You can see me rolling backwards. Then I try and go up the hill again, even though I failed earlier. You can see how much time I'm losing just by rejoining the track and then having to steer out of people's way. It was crazy. And Sapo, who actually would have passed us if he kept it on the track, he actually spins at the exact same corner. So you see Sapo is behind us now, also in the Audi, and he's going to be sort of challenging us on the last lap because obviously it's full position now. I think Sapo had an incident on the first lap of the race, so he actually had to have a pit stop. So you can see how much time we've lost throughout this race just spinning. We've lost sort of the amount a pit stop will take you. So it's been a pretty crazy race. That's actually CJ behind us, almost lapping us at this point. And bearing in mind I was, what was it, sort of 13-14 seconds behind before I started spinning and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty dreadful race for me. And this last lap had Sapo all over me, so I just pushed for this last lap. I mean, what was the worst that's going to happen? I spun again, so sort of had to just trying to get my head down for the last lap, try and pull away. And what wasn't helping me is I've got my race, the way I've done my HUD, I've got the race complete sign in front of my gears, so I couldn't actually, I do like to just check when I'm sort of hitting the limiter. I don't actually look at the car for some reason. I look towards the right, but yeah, I just couldn't see what gear I was in, and then I thought, oh god, please don't spin out this corner. You see I go into this corner really steady, just as slow as possible. And yeah, I just don't understand why it was just spitting me off every time I went to that corner. Pretty shocking, to be honest. But yeah, what can you do? It's Laguna Seca. It's just pretty much my most hated track. So I mean, just have to put it down to as one of them really off days. But yeah, coming across the line, gonna come home 7th. We definitely had the potential for much more, but it never happened, and we end up finishing 7th in that race. Bit of a boring one for me after all the spins, but you can see the finishing positions there. Kung Jarnets manages to keep it on the island, actually get a podium, so it's a good result for him. Sisavoma loses more points in the championship, and obviously now the patch is out, it might change things for Monza, which is the next one. So catch that next week Saturday on Cricket TMG. Peace.